Welcome to Plant-Based on Fire, the podcast that ignites your passion for plant-based businesses. Real Men Eat Plants is proud to host this show, where we shine a spotlight on the latest and greatest plant-based companies making waves in the industry. From startups to established brands, we'll explore what sets these businesses apart, what challenges they've faced, and what their vision for a more sustainable and ethical food future looks like. So if you're hungry for some fresh insights, inspiring stories, and a healthy dose of entrepreneurial spirit, then join us on Plant-Based on Fire, brought to you by Real Men Eat Plants.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Plant-Based on Fire, where we talk about plant-based businesses and their inspiring stories to thrive in the industry. I'm your host, Brian, and joining us today is Shaleen Ratansi, founder and CEO of Aiya Ayia, an ethical and sustainable vegan luxury leather goods company consciously built to do no harm to the planet, people, and animals. Welcome, Shaleen.
Thank you so much. Nice
Right?
to be here.
I know we just talked about that. Did I say
You
it
got
right?
it right the first time. It was really close. You're good. You're good.
So tell us one more time, because it's a unique, you have a unique name and your company has a unique name. How do you say it so we can find it on the internet?
Yeah, so my name is pronounced Shaleen, and the company is Aiya Ayia, which means caregiver or caretaker.
That is awesome. And I just love the name of the company. And like everybody else we've had on the podcast so far has sort of been in like the service business or really in the food industries and stuff. So like you're the first like outside of those two realms. So what inspired you to start this vegan luxury leather goods company?
Yeah, great question. So I'm a designer by trade. I've been in the fashion industry my entire career, so 20 plus years. And I always wanted my own collection. And so in 2020, when I was done with corporate life, I was thinking it's time for me to start my own business. And so I wanted it to be part of the solution. I didn't want to be part of the problem. And I didn't want it to have a partial solution. So I started digging in, researching what was out there. And I thought there has to be a better way to do what we do. And there was a huge gap in vegan luxury and sustainable luxury. And so as I started to dive deep in the research, I found there was amazing people doing wonderful things with plant waste, food waste that we can just repurpose into beautiful new products. And so from then I had decided that, okay, everything we make has to be made from a byproduct of waste because it helps on so many other levels. And so building Aiya Ayia, I was conscious about putting that thought and effort in at every step. So whether it's helping the planet, helping other humans live a better life, or animals, it's all built in throughout the business, not just at the end.
That is awesome. I applaud your efforts, and we need more of you out there. And we were talking just a minute before the show about even upcycling and different things like that. So what are the biggest challenges you faced in creating this sustainable vegan luxury product company?
Yeah, I think the hardest thing is not having any plastic in any part of the business. That is literally the hardest thing I found, or having even sometimes toxic chemicals, because a lot of these things are intertwined and they kind of go hand in hand. Petroleum has been a little bit easier, but still you might find it in some of the small things like glue or, your thread, things that you don't necessarily think about when you think of materials. And so even when I had done the product and gone through that whole design thing, and I even got plant-based shipping mailers, and I went to ship my first order, and I thought, oh no, my shipping label, right? Where you put the people's information and the barcode for the courier to be able to deliver this product. And I thought, oh gosh. Thankfully, I was able to find one that was also compostable, because another part of our initiative is to make it easier for the end user, right? They shouldn't have to think about, okay, what parts are compostable? What parts have to go in recycling? I wanted it to be easy so they don't have to separate the two. So now both the shipping label, the composting mailer, both can go into the compost bin at home. And so, but you come up with these things as you design and as you sort of go through the process. And it's not more difficult. It's just a way to change the way we think and design. And so it's mostly a mind shift than anything. And so at first, like anything, it's a little bit challenging because we're rewiring our brain. But then as you do it, it almost becomes second nature and it becomes easier as we do it.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I have a follow-up question on that in the sense of like I help mentor and guide so many businesses, and it's like you're not going to get everything perfect while you're trying to make some money and prove this is a viable business. So like what was the you didn't solve all those challenges on day one, right? Like you use the wrong label for the first one or two orders, I'm sure, but like how do you what was the time frame for you, and then how did you just chip away at things as you uncovered them?
Yeah, it was most of it was upfront, and I went through sort of a trial and error process. And so the first couple of orders were thankfully family and friends. So I was able to ship it a little later than I would have liked, not so I could find that the right label, thankfully. But to your point, there are things. So, for example, I think you emailed me about our conditioning wax because I hadn't updated our website and it said beeswax. And the first iteration of it did have beeswax because I hadn't found another alternative. But now I've made a proprietary wax that is consuming of plant wax, plant oils, and essential oils. And so it's sort of that thing where you have to do the best you can with the capacity you have, the knowledge, and the materials available, right? Um, and the beeswax was sort of beeswax is hard because it depends on where you are on the vegan scale, right? Some people think it's okay and other people are like absolutely not, it's an animal byproduct. And it wasn't a best solution at the time, but I thought, okay, let's see how it goes and see how it works with the material. And the other thing that was important to me was having things made as local as possible. So all our products are made locally here in Montreal. The conditioning wax is also made locally in Quebec. A lot of our other suppliers come from other places in Canada. And so I didn't want to outsource it overseas for a lot of reasons. And so together with my supplier who does the beeswax, we were able to find a way to switch that out. But there was a lot of trial and error. And so, creating a new business is very nerve wracking to begin with. And I'm quite a perfectionist. And so sometimes you just have to go ahead and pull the trigger, as they say, and launch it. Otherwise, you're there just keep fixing and, perfecting. And a lot of the things only you notice as being so deep in the forest that you're like, oh, that's not exactly how I want it. But most people wouldn't even know better because they're like, oh, it's so great and I love it, and they just need to get to know the product. And so that was something that was hard for me because I like to have everything perfect. But you know like you say, you just have to sort of go with it and learn as you go and do the best you can. That's what I say, because it can be a huge endeavor, but we all can just do the best we can. And as we learn and educate ourselves, we'll make those better choices.
Absolutely. Yeah. I well said. I mean, it really is just waking up every day and trying to say, like, how are we going to make myself better? How are we going to make the world better and my business better? So you just keep chipping away at it. And I don't know if anybody ever gets to the perfection level, but you definitely make it better every single day. But the world's going to keep changing around us. So the thing that
Exactly.
I saw and I want you to tell me more about is that regenerative plant leather you use, and how is it made? And like, that just sounds phenomenal and awesome, and like everything should be made with it. So
Yes,
talk to us.
I agree. So the plant material is a proprietary material that we actually have to purchase outside of Canada because it's a proprietary material. It's made from leftover plants from the food industry. So these are items from the plant that would normally be discarded or burned off to clear the land. So there's banana, sisal, hemp fiber, and coconut water. And one thing I learned in this process that I had no idea about was coconut water gets dumped into the soil and it's actually quite toxic because of the pH level. And so this way, for them to repurpose it, it saves the soil. But not only that, the company we purchased the material from is circular, and they provide farmers with supplemental income. And this is so important because a lot of farmers, especially in certain countries, have to leave their homes and travel thousands of miles away from their families just to put food on the table. And I think that's an absurd notion that anyone would have to do that. And so they provide them with supplemental income so they don't have to leave their towns and villages or their families. And the other thing about that is because of climate change, it's exacerbating that for farmers, right? Their crops aren't as high yielding. And so then they have to go even further. So there's a lot of these measures when we choose our partners that I was talking about earlier. We select them for various reasons.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, don't get me started on the quinoa market that we're goofing up as vegans. So I applaud you in finding these people and helping them build that sustainable life for them and for us. And I love the circular aspects of it too. So well done. I commend you on that.
All right, if you've ever wanted to show off your plant-based lifestyle and do it in style, here's your chance. We have some of the most amazing t-shirts, hats, accessories, coffee mugs, and more at shop.realmeneatplants.com. We have statement t-shirts that will bring a smile to everyone's face. I love the I want tofu tonight tee. Plus, we have podcast tees, Real Women Eat Plants gear, Real Kids Eat Plants, and Real People Eat Plants, just in case men, women, and kids didn't cover it all. Yeah, we love you and love that you want to show off that healthy lifestyle of yours. Again, check out our high-quality gear at shop.realmeneatplants.com and enjoy.
How has it resonated in the market? How are consumers responding to your products, especially in this luxury space where I still feel like, I run the Real Men Eat Plants website, and it's, the masculinity is tied to the meat, but like I still feel like leather is tied to luxury. And so we have to change the narrative here that other fabrics or the plant-based leather alternatives are just as luxurious, if not better. So tell us how is it going?
People are actually very well receptive to the material and the products. They're actually quite mind blown because one, most people haven't thought of an alternative like this. And when they read it, it doesn't really resonate with us, right? Because we can read something, but until we touch it and feel it, it's a whole other ball game. And so when we're in person and I highly encourage people. Everyone's like, oh, I don't want to touch your beautiful display. I said, no, please. We highly encourage you touch and feel the material because it's so different from leather, especially when it's in its new state. It's got a lot of texture. It's a little bit uneven. So it's funny, we were talking about perfection because perfection doesn't exist. And
Right.
with Aiya Ayia, we talk about imperfection is perfection. And so the material, because it's a natural material dyed with flowers and tree bark, it has natural imperfections with color range, with texture range, all these things. And so when you touch it and you play with it, you understand how it feels. And then the more you use it and condition it, kind of like leather, it becomes more flexible, softer, and it actually smooths out. And so, but you still get how leather crackles and everyone loves how it ages? Because of the way the texture is, even though it smooths out, it still has that look of texture. So it's kind of the best of both worlds, and you don't have to wait for it to age a million years or kill an animal or use 400 toxic chemicals to produce it, and on and on we could go.
Yeah, absolutely.
So people are really shocked. They're like, they love it because they never thought plant leather could look so good or do this good. And I truly believe people want to do better. They just don't know how and are too busy to figure it out. And so that's where, again, our mission comes in to help it be easier for everybody and do the legwork.
Yeah. And not only you get this awesome, amazing looking, luxurious product in your house, but you have some initiatives that are helping to give back with every purchase, right? Tell me about supporting women and the mangrove trees. Explore that with me.
Yeah, so with every product sold, we plant a mangrove tree and donate 1% to rescue girls and women from abuse and poverty. Now, most people haven't heard of mangrove trees, but they are fascinating. We have a blog that I've written on our website if anyone's interested, but they sequester one of the highest carbon counts than any other tree. They lock it into their roots, which are aerial roots. Even the way they plant, the seedlings float, and then they float to a spot where they're needed, and then they grow roots and then they plant, because they help save the beaches and the erosion from the land. And then it provides also shelter and food and economy to the local communities. It's such a fascinating tree. So I highly recommend people look up mangroves, and that's why we've decided to plant mangrove trees to do the maximum impact as well. And then the 1% to rescue girls and women from abuse and poverty, we've outlined 3 initiatives or 3 organizations that we donate to. One of them is called Sambali Trust in India, that provides women with education and how to sew and life skills. And as they graduate, they get a sewing machine, but they also help their kids go to school and put them through school. So their kids aren't part of the cycle that they're born into. The other one is called Childs Not Brides, which is a little bit self-explanatory, because, we don't want children to be married off at 10, 12 years old. And a lot of that ties back into education, and there's a real correlation. So if you're ever on the Child Not Brides websites, they talk a lot about that. And so we're very much about empowering and educating girls to avoid this thing of child marriage, but also give them opportunity to decide their own future. And lastly, Heart Kenya, which is an organization to end human trafficking.
I love it. Yeah. I mean, I'm a big fan of the International Justice Mission. I've been probably giving to them for years now. And so it's still mind boggling to me to see in 2023 that we aren't planting more trees and we aren't really reaching the equality states that we all strive for and talk about day to day,
Yeah.
especially here in the United States, that we aren't. So yeah, that's just phenomenal. And I feel like more and more plant-based businesses are figuring out how to unlock that as part of their value proposition. And I just want to be able to look around at my house and say, look, there's 17 trees, there's 47 gallons of water I helped clean, and there's so many people I helped impact by the way I spend the money coming out of my wallet, and I put it towards good use for amazing things that I want. So yeah, just amazing stuff that you're doing on that front. So thank you.
Thank you. Well, we can't do it without the support of our clients, right? Because we do the hard work, we figure it out, but without anyone supporting us or buying from us, we can't do these initiatives. So really, thank you to everybody who supports and purchases from us.
That is awesome. What trends are you sort of seeing in the sustainability and vegan luxury goods market? What's on deck for 2024 as we head into the new year?
Yeah, so we just launched our home collection with a sustainable interior designer. So we are definitely going to be expanding that range in 2024. And there will be a small mini collection of handbags, a new set of handbags and accessories coming out in 2024. So look out for those. They're going to be very different, nothing you've seen on the market. So we like to keep everyone on their toes in every way we can.
That's right. Awesome. We're looking forward to that. And like we touched on a few good, interesting tidbits already, but I'll ask you the question very directly and sort of see what advice would you give to fellow entrepreneurs looking to start this sustainable or plant-based business?
Yeah, great question. Um, be patient with yourself and be kind to yourself. Um, know your goals, what you want to achieve, and what your values are. Know that you don't have to compromise your values for your business, and stay true to those, and it will be good to you, especially in the long run.
Absolutely. That is some great advice. Thank you for that. What has been the most rewarding part of your journey with Aya Aya?
Wow, that's a great question. I think for me is a lot of alignment with myself, and just everything that didn't seem to fit and didn't make sense. So once Aya Aya was built, and it made sense to me. Everything sort of clicked in my life. And I've met so many amazing people on this journey, and I continue to. And I also meet a lot of people, especially the younger generation, where they have this misalignment. They have this inner struggle because they're very conscious about the environment and animals, but they still eat meat and they don't know how to reconcile that. And I've been there, I understand that. And so, having those conversations and helping them understand or open that door for them to get them to the other side has been really, really rewarding.
I can't recommend that enough. Being bold and putting the conversation out there. I feel like we tend to hide in the corner and don't want to impose on the chef that, like, I'm sick of pasta.
Yes.
I don't
How
want
about just some
pasta today.
vegetables? Yes,
Yeah.
it's built in the name.
Yeah. So anyway, don't get me started on that. We could spend a whole another half hour on that topic. So
Yeah.
that is awesome, and thank you for being a voice out there for others to see the path towards where they should head. What do you sort of see as the vision for the future with Aiya Ayia? What's the next 5 to 10 years look like?
Oh, great question. A lot more quality product in different industries. So, we can have a better selection of products to choose from, both in our homes and everyday lives, that we can utilize to make this positive impact. And a lot of collaborations with other companies doing this great work. So, we don't have to overproduce, but just have a good selection for people to be able to choose from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. So what can we do as this Plant-Based on Fire community here to support you?
Yeah. So, obviously, purchase from Aiya Ayia. And we know it's not always for everybody. We do also recommend supporting on social. It's a very easy thing. It doesn't cost anything. Follow us, interact with us. Tell us what you want to see or what you want to hear. We're always open to having questions thrown at us or suggestions. We love to hear the feedback. And with the home collection, I think I mentioned offline that we do custom orders. So, if you don't see something online, send us an email and we're happy to talk about a custom piece for you and we can go from there. But yeah.
That is awesome. I will definitely be checking out the website myself, as I have a few ideas in mind for my house. Aiya Ayia is a palindrome, right? Now, I want to make sure everybody knows how to find your website. So tell us exactly how to spell it, because it is a forward backwards word that's really cool, but I want to make sure everybody spells it right.
Yes. So it's AIYA.com.
Very cool. So Aiya Ayia palindrome. Just remember Aiya Ayia palindrome. Look it up, and I'm sure Google will find that one. It's such a unique name. Whichever way you spell Aiya Ayia, will probably find the website. But AIYA, correct?
Yes.
Perfect. That is awesome. So are there any other ways that we can get in touch with you? What social media platforms are you on?
Yeah, we're on Instagram. That's the best one to reach out to us, or through our website. We'll be launching a couple others probably for 2024, but those are the two we highly recommend. Or even through Google, you can reach us.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much, Shaleen, for being here. We really appreciate you spending a few minutes to talk to us
Thank you so much,
about
Brian.
your business. That is all the time we have for this episode of Plant-Based on Fire. Again, a big shout out to Aiya Ayia for joining us and sharing their insights and thoughts and experiences with our community. Until next time, everybody, keep those fires burning.
And that's a wrap for this episode of Plant-Based on Fire. We hope you enjoyed learning about the innovative plant-based businesses we featured today and got inspired to support them on their journey. Remember, plant-based eating isn't just a trend. It's a way of life that benefits your health, the environment, and animals. By choosing plant-based foods, you're making a positive impact on the world and helping to create a better and more compassionate future. If you want to join the Real Men Eat Plants community and get even more resources to help you go and stay plant-based, Check out our blog, podcasts, and 30-day challenge at realmeneatplants.com. Thank you for tuning in to Plant Based on Fire, brought to you by Real Men Eat Plants. Head over to Apple Podcast and give us a review, and let us know what you think of this episode. Don't forget to tag us at Plant Based on Fire when you share this episode in your preferred social media. Wish to be a guest? We need to know about your plant-based business. Email us at pbof@realmeneatplants.com. We love hearing from our listeners. Thank you to our guests and to you, our listeners, for your support, and see you next time.